Hello and welcome to the Star Wars After Show presented by Verizon. I'm Andy Gutierrez, co-host of the Star Wars Show. And today we are talking all about costuming because we had a huge segment with the Mandalorian Mercs and I revealed my new Mando armor and it's amazing. So here to talk all about costuming with me are my panel of Lucasfilm employees and superfans, starting with Heather West, Executive Assistant at Lucasfilm, Kristen Hidalgo, Distribution Coordinator at Lucasfilm, and Star Wars Show Video Editor, Frank Knight. Thanks for putting that all together. I know that was a huge segment to cut.
It was a lot of fun. I didn't get to go on your shoot with you, but I feel like I was there. It looked super cool, like to have like all the armor and stuff and have it like molded against you. Looked like a lot of fun. Looks like something I might want to do soon.
Well, I happen to know some people that might
really?
be able to help you with that.
So I came onto this whole thing kind of late. I just started editing the show recently, and when I started, you had already come in and been measured for the costume and stuff. So how did this all start?
Tom Hutchins, Mandalore the Uniter, got in touch with Pete Vilmer here and was like, hey, Andy dissed Boba Fett, we're gonna prove her wrong. We're gonna show her how cool it feels to be a Mando. And I was like, are you sure you shouldn't be like building this for a kid or something? Like, and they were super cool. And it was really neat to get to learn the process of how these things are made because I had no idea. I do not own a sewing machine. Like, I don't know how to use one. And to watch these people come together and collaborate to build these pieces is really, really inspiring. And then from there, they just kind of took it up. They divided up all of these different pieces for different people to build. Tom actually 3D printed my gauntlets himself.
Yeah, we didn't stick that in the piece, but yeah, I saw the 3D printed footage of your gauntlets and your blasters being 3D printed, which was super cool.
Super cool.
Wow.
Because I was talking to a lot of the other members there and they were like building their blasters out of wood and carving them, and it was pretty neat to have the 3D printed elements. And then the helmet came from elsewhere. I really dig the face lights. Heather, you do a bit of Star Wars costuming yourself, but you kind of stray and do more obscure characters, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite one that you've done?
I'd say probably Steela, actually. I think she just had such a cool arc that was sadly cut short. So anytime I can sort of bring her back to life so that other people recognize her is kind of fun.
Do you, and you make all of your own pieces yourself?
I sew. My mom taught me to sew, actually, and I tend to follow the instructions for about a third of the way and then sort of just go off on my own.
Nice.
So yeah, I sew, and then I do like some crafting and building a little bit, but I'm working on learning that.
How long have you been, costuming, building your own stuff?
Probably since I was about 13. I think the first Star Wars character I ever did was Luke Skywalker.
Awesome. Which Luke?
Desert Luke. So I did the poncho outfit, which was
with the hat.
Yeah, with the hat and the pants, and tested it outside in the East Coast winter and did not survive.
Very hip, though.
Yeah, super hip.
Very hip.
I've seen a lot more than I've worn or created. Actually, with the exception of the Halloween parties, I haven't done my own costuming in quite a long time. But I've worked with a lot of the fan groups as part of the conventions, and I'm a big fan of their costuming and just in general going to the conventions and seeing what everyone's wearing.
So the fan groups, though, are just something that's really, really special to Star Wars fandoms. Tell me a little bit about your experiences with them.
I've worked with them a lot for when working on Celebration, the very different celebrations that I've worked on, and I can't say enough good things about them. If we reach out to them asking if they'd like to help, we are like overwhelmed by how much they're willing to do and how much they're willing to help out, and they'll present ideas, and even folks who can't dedicate time for a class or an event will say, well, we can come by the family room in our costumes and pose with the kids. So throughout the day, you might get a whole group of Mandalorians coming in or a whole bunch of like rebel pilots, and then they just come by just to see the kids, and the kids
love it.
Love it. They absolutely love it. It's so exciting.
I've gotten to know a little bit about them all over the years, but the Mandos are now the one that I guess I know most about. And Frank, you're Rebel Legion, right?
So I have a Jedi that's up for approval in Rebel Legion, but I'm not an official member yet. And I'm a member of Saber Guild, so the Jedi fight choreography group as well. So I have a couple of costumes approved by them.
What's the approval process like for stuff like that?
For all the fan groups, it's pretty much the same. They tell you to please include them on every step of the way, because the worst thing ever is be like, hey, I spent 8 months and $1,000 and I made this amazing costume. We cool? And they're like, no, we're not. got some problems here. So the idea is you always kind of join the forums for whichever community is, whether the Mandos or the 501st. You know, introduce yourself, say hi, talk about like what it is that you want to build. And they always have two different tutorials for whatever it is, whether the armor patterns for Mandos or how to build a Jedi tunic or what have you. And they kind of like people to start their build and communicate with the community and work on it through the whole process.
One thing I've learned from talking to some of the members of the different groups is they all come from different places. So some of them may be expert costumers and they've decided they wanted to make a Star Wars costume, and other people have never made a costume at all, but they contact the group and maybe they don't have, you know, an approved outfit right away, but they just learn, or they go to the events and they start learning how things are made, and then maybe down the line they put together something for themselves. But there's different paths to getting into it.
Either of you actually submitted any of your costumes for approval?
No, I was looking at Rebel Legion just because there's a couple Rebels I've been interested in over the years. So they don't actually have, or they didn't when I looked, had like a Stila, approved process or anything like that.
That's interesting. If they don't have some precedent, how do you go about getting that set?
I think you can just email them and reach out and say like, hey, I'm interested in doing this character, what are the guidelines? Because what I've noticed a lot about the costumes that I've done is they're all from animated or comic book characters. Like, I really like Dr. Aphra, I was thinking of doing her. And so it's interesting because you can't really do a screen accurate costume from an animated show or a comic book, but you can, try as much as you can. But even in the comics, a lot of the artists, like from the cover to the inside, will change the way the costume looks.
So the fan groups, they do a lot of work, on their own. I know that you've been involved with, working with them for conventions and stuff like that. I mean, what's the process like for getting these groups together and wrangling them and keeping them engaged with our events and community?
So what we've done is when we're having a Star Wars celebration, there'll be an announcement on the celebration website for fan programming, and fans will submit through there. And then separately, so in my case, I used to do the family room, the programming for children and families. And when I started doing it, it had already been established. So Mary Franklin, who was my boss at the time, had previous contacts, and I would reach out to them. But then we might also post it on Twitter, on the website. If you have a proposal you'd like to do in the family room, write to us at this address. And then the fan groups would come to me, the individual ones, not the group as a whole, but like a local chapter would say, we will be at the show and we would like to do this activity. So one year, the Mandalorian Mercs, one of their local groups did, they made cardboard armor for the kids. And they provided patterns and sheets of heavy paper and tape and, all the things that they needed. And then they worked with the kids to cut out the individual pieces, and then they could color them any way they wanted. And then when they were done, they would tape them to their existing clothes.
That's awesome.
And it was really, really cute. And it was fun to see, how the kids, some of them went like straight up, like the traditional one, it was just like, mine's gonna be pink, whatever they wanted. They just did however they wanted to do it.
Well, I mean, we're getting close to Orlando. I mean, just a
So
few months
excited.
away. I mean, I'm gonna probably wear that bad boy out there, but do you guys have any plans?
I'm still working on it. I've been really wanting to do Bastila from KOTOR for a while, so
That'd be cool.
maybe that.
That'd be fun. How much time does something like that take you?
In a perfect world, it would take 3 months, but because I'm a huge procrastinator, I'd say about 2 weeks.
Pulling it together. How about you, Frank?
The Short Trooper from Rogue One looks so cool.
Yes.
And it looks like it has a lot less armor bits than like a normal Stormtrooper or Clone Trooper. So like I might be able to like sit down and possibly edit in it.
Oh.
Which would be
Nice.
like the best image in the world.
Because you're going to be working quite a bit.
Yeah, that'd be the funniest thing in the world to me. Is like just shots of a Short Trooper behind a computer, just like editing away. Might be kind of fun. I don't know. Worst case scenario, I'll just do like another Jedi. I've been working on Shadow Vow from the Legacy comics, the Blue Twilight Jedi. So I have most of that costume done. I just need to finish the leather bits, his gauntlets and his belt, and then.
Do you have your Leku already?
No, I gotta get a set of Leku, and then I gotta get somebody with an airbrush to like paint me. Like that's the worst thing. I'm just like, I don't to do body paint.
I think you mean that's the best thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could airbrush you. Airbrushing's easy. That's the easiest part. That'll be fun.
That should be an event at Celebration. There should be the airbrush booth.
Airbrush station.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
You can get different like Thelan markings. And, oh man.
Face painting brought to the next level.
Yeah.
Provided by Star Wars.
So
See the
good.
cute little kids with like their Darth Maul
Yeah.
painting. Oh, might be a
really
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
We might have to do that. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming and talking costuming with you guys. I can't wait to see what y'all come up with. And thank you guys for watching the Star Wars After Show presented by Verizon. If you want more Star Wars show, head over to youtube.com/Star Wars or starwars.com. Thanks again, and may the Force be with you.